Today we are going to learn one more conversation. Ritika said, "Good evening and welcome to Legal Lens." Tonight we discuss the UP government's justification before the Supreme Court for seizing properties of accused gangsters even before conviction. Ms. Sharma, let me begin with you. Why does the government believe this move is justified? Ms. Sharma said, "Thank you, Ritika. From the government's standpoint, early attachment of assets is necessary or necessity to stop criminals from transferring or alienating ill-gotten properties. Once the trial begins, many of these individuals use proxies to dispose of assets, making recovery nearly impossible." Conversation, Mr. Menon. That's a fair point. But from my perspective, such a provisions must withstand a test of constitutionality. The right to property, though no longer a fundamental right, is still a legal right under Article 300A. Depriving someone of property before conviction could easily be seen as violation of due process. Mr. Desai, exactly. Mr. Menon, the presumption of innocence is cornerstone of our criminal justice system. How can a state justify punitive action before guilt is established? It sets a dangerous precedent, one that could be misused for political vendettas. Ms. Sharma, I understand your concern, Mr. Desai, but let me put forward a point. This law is aimed specifically at organized crime syndicates, not ordinary citizens. The scale and covert nature of gangster operation demand preventive measures. If we wait until conviction, the damage is already done. Ritika said, Mr. Menon, do you believe there is a legal balance that can be achieved between individual rights and state security? Mr. Menon said, certainly, Ritika, the balance lies in strict procedural safeguards. The law must ensure that judicial oversight is mandatory before any attachment. Law must ensure that judicial oversight is mandatory before any attachment. Without it, the process could become arbitrary. Mr. Desai, I would add that transparency and accountability are essential. The state should disclose the basis of its action. The state should disclose the basis of its action and give the accused a reasonable opportunity to respond. Otherwise, this becomes a case of guilty until proven innocent. Ms. Sharma, I agree. Ms. Sharma said, I agree that judicial oversight is important. In fact, familiar provisions exist in PMLA and MOCA, which have successfully curbed financial crimes and organized rackets. The UP Act merely aligns with these frameworks to combat the escalating phenomena of gangsterism. Ritika said, that's interesting, but Mr. Menon, critics argue that such a laws often blur the line between crime prevention and rights violation. What is your take? Mr. Menon, it's a delicate balance. Law and order cannot come out the cost of liberty. However, in the long run, a well-monitored mechanism that allows asset attachment under judicial supervision could serve both objectives, deterrence and fairness. Mr. Desai, the concern remains about implementation. Laws are only as good as people enforcing them. Without institutional integrity, even in intention, even best intentioned provisions can become tools of harassment. Ms. Sharma said, point taken. The government is open to reviewing procedural aspect if the court recommends changes, but completely scrapping preventive attachment would weak- weaken, weaken our ability to deal with organized crime. Ritika said, "Thank you everyone. Clearly, this issue sits at the intersection of justice and governance. At the end of the day, the challenge is to curb criminal networks without compromising constitutional values." Thank you so much.